It's like you mentioned, Matt, in the Peterborough game. After he conceded that goal, all Blues fans were every time the ball went anywhere near him, the anxiety was all over the stadium.
It projected,
and you could tell it was him as well because he kicked the ball out for a corner, and he needs to be.
He was all over the place.
He needs to have a break for himself as well to build his confidence back up. But it's got to be, for me, it's got to be all solid. So welcome back to BCFC Royal Blue, and the EFL League One season is now well underway, and the games are coming thick and fast. On the back of a 3-2 home victory against Peterborough United on the weekend, on Tuesday night, Birmingham City are playing Huddersfield Town once again at home. And in this podcast, myself and Matt will be discussing the match, giving a preview as we always do, and we'll also talk about lineups and giving our ideas of predicted lineups for Birmingham City. So, Huddersfield Town coming to town on Tuesday, Matt. What's your thoughts?
Well, I thought Huddersfield were going to be arguably sort of the biggest competitors in this division. I did think at the start it could have been sort of Blues and Huddersfield challenging for those automatic spaces, but they haven't quite got off to the races, have they? They've won 4 and lost 4, and they've lost 6 out of their last 7 games if you include cup games as well. So something not quite right there if you take all that into account. Blues 6 straight wins. We expected a big crowd. I don't think it's quite a sellout yet, but we're nearly there. I think there's about 200 tickets left. Last time we had a midweek game under the lights, it was the Wrexham game, which was a great event. So I think it's going to be a really good game.
Yeah, I agree with you, because Huddersfield came down with us, and there was a lot of noise in the summer that they are going to be challenging right at the top for the automatic spaces, and that could still well happen. But they're definitely on a season blip already. Only 8 games in. They've lost their last 3 on the bounce, and they've lost 4 of the last 5 in the league. They started off well. They won their first 3. So I'll just go through their results because it shows you what a strange league this is. Beat Peterborough 2-0 away in their first game. We saw Peterborough the weekend, and they're pretty good. So that's a good result. They beat Stevenage 2-1 at home, followed up by a 1-0 victory against Shrewsbury. And they had their first loss against Rotherham, 2-1, which again surprised me, given what we saw about Rotherham last week when we went there. Then they had a fantastic 4-0 away victory at Bolton. And after that, Huddersfield 1, Northampton 3, Huddersfield 0, Blackpool 2, and Reading 2, Huddersfield 1. It's really, I mean, if you talk about hot and cold, I mean, that's it really. So I think coming to St Andrews, in terms of their current form, they've lost the last 3. We've won 6 in a row. Everything would say that we will be strong favourites. But as we've seen, Matt, in other games, teams just come at us.
Yeah.
And these are a good side. So even though they're on a bad run of results, like other teams, they've got nothing to lose.
Yeah. And we're only 8 games in. Huddersfield will turn this round. I have no doubt. There's a lot of people questioning the director and the manager at Huddersfield at the moment. I know there's a lot of angry fans out there. Seems to be a lot of angry fan bases in League One at the moment. I think Rotherham fans are unsettled. Huddersfield fans are unsettled. Teams that came down, I think Bolton fans are a little bit frustrated as well. There's a lot of frustration, I feel like, in the fan bases around League One. And I think what's wrong with Huddersfield is the fans, I don't know if they were promised this, but they were expecting this big rebuild, lots of good players coming in. And I saw earlier a sarcastic comment from a Huddersfield fan going, don't worry, lads, we haven't recruited anyone, but the stadium's got a nice fresh lick of paint on it.
Yeah, I saw that as well.
So it was like, it's almost the Huddersfield fans feel like the club have got their priorities in the wrong area and the wrong order. And there's a big frustration at their sporting director, Cartwright. There's a lot of anger at him. And I think what's happening at Huddersfield, Dad, is, we've all got relegated together, us, Huddersfield and Rotherham. And Blues have had a big recruitment. We've had a lot of players leave, a lot of players come in. Yeah. We've had a new manager. So we've been able to adapt our mentality. We are at the minute on fire. We don't know when we're defeated. We're going at teams. We are playing really good football. Fair enough, we are making a few mistakes. But generally speaking, at Birmingham City, we've remembered how to win again. Yeah. Whereas Huddersfield, they've come down with a losing team. They've come down with a losing mentality. And they're still playing the same players. And that's a big thing. When you get used to losing, it's really hard to get out of that mentality. Just like when you're winning and you're on form, it's really hard to knock those teams out of their stride because it's momentum and it's confidence and it's consistency. Huddersfield have the opposite at the moment. They're losing. They've got that losing mentality. Something needs to change for them to make this click for them this season.
And about recruitment, let's talk about recruitment. Obviously, Alfie May was a massive story over the summer, and he was literally virtually going there. Yeah. He was almost done.
In fact, I think when he recorded that message at Charlton to say goodbye, that was almost because the Huddersfield deal was done.
Yeah.
So it felt like that was almost like a goodbye. I'm going to Huddersfield. So you're right.
Blues came in the last minute, and
Yeah.
obviously we got that deal done. So obviously that's he's not going to be very popular with the Huddersfield fans, is he, Alfie May? But we don't care. But if you look at their recruitments, what they brought in. They've only paid fees for 2 players. Anthony Evans, which is a good signing from Bristol Rovers. There was a lot of publicity that we were in for Anthony Evans, but I never, ever, I think that was created by the media, that he was a target for Birmingham City, but I never saw anything in any Blues media that we were ever interested in him.
What happened was a media outlet reported it falsely, and then I don't know what podcast or what channel put it out there, but someone did within Blues, and then that spiraled this whole thing that we were in for him, and we never were. So I think it was based off false rumours, basically.
Yeah, and I think because of what happened with Alfie May, obviously all the Huddersfield fans are saying, "Ha, we've got him." Well, we never wanted him. So that's Anthony Evans, Bristol Rovers.
Good player though.
Yeah, he's a good player. 510k they paid for him.
It's good deal.
Lasse Sorensen, who's a right midfielder, they bought him from Lincoln, 470k. The rest of them, free transfers. Herbie Kane, that's a strange one, that was. Central midfielder from Barnsley, free transfer. Mikael Miller, a left midfielder from Plymouth, free transfer. Callum Marshall, these are loan players now from West Ham under 21s. Joe Hodge from Wolves, again another loan. He's a defensive midfielder. And Nigel Longwich, centre-back from, again, Wolves, all loan. So, that does not been a massive change in their personnel. In fact, actually, they've also lost players as well. I mean, Jack Rodoni went to Coventry for about nearly 6 million, 5.9 million. Yuto Nakayama, centre-back, he went back to the J-League in Japan on a free transfer. Brahim Dihara, central midfield, went to the UAE Pro League. Conor Mahoney went to Barrow. Jordan Rhodes, I think he was on loan at Blackpool, but they made it permanent. Aaron Rowe went to Gillingham. So they Sorba Thomas as well. He was a player that I was aware of. He went to Nantes in France. So they've lost players, and they don't seem to have made any significant difference in their recruitment. I think that comes back to the point you made actually earlier, Matt, if why they're probably in this position. There's nothing fresh in that team, or really fresh, that comes down with this mentality of a relegated club.
Yeah, and also Hilek or Hilek, their centre back, he's injured now for 2 months as well. So
is he?
Another big problem for Huddersfield. Yeah, I think he might have done a calf or a hamstring. He's done something in his leg. I think he did it in the last game or second to last game.
It was Blackpool.
And he's out now for 2 months.
He did it against Blackpool, and because I remember seeing him, he was a substitute in the 19th minute or something like that.
He's a good player, he is.
Do you know what? In the summer, I had one eye open, we'd actually make a bid for him.
Yeah, same.
Because he looks
scores a lot of goals.
He was their top scorer last season as a centre half, actually. So look at their actually we can look at that now in terms of their this season. Their top scorer is Josh Karoma. Now he is dangerous, and he's one we have to watch. He's a left winger. He's got 4 goals and an assist. Ben Wilkes, central midfielder, he's got 3 goals. Anthony Evans, we talked about, he's got 2 goals. There are goals in this team, and just because they've been on such a bad run doesn't make them a bad team.
No, of course it doesn't.
It's just those periods in a season where you sometimes go through these particular periods. But last season, Michael Helick got 9 goals. He was their top scorer. Delano Burgorg, he got 7 goals. I don't know if he's still in the team, but we'll have to see. Josh Karama got 6 goals. Rodoni, who's gone, got 5 goals. Sorba Thomas got 4 goals. He's gone. So they have lost a lot of goals from last season as well. But I think the main threat is going to be on their wings. I mean, definitely, there's some players there that are going to potentially cause us problems. Karoma particularly. I think he was with them. I don't know. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Huddersfield fans, but I don't know if he was with them in the Premier League. Do you know when he was in the Premier League?
Right.
I don't know how long he's been there. I may be wrong about that, but from what I've seen of him, and I saw him, he's one of their better players. So so there's threats within this team that could potentially hurt us.
Yeah, and if you've been watching this channel, Dad, I love my football. I watch a lot of football over the weeks, and especially when the kids are down, it's like my hour and a half piece watching the football. But I do watch a lot of Huddersfield because I've also been watching a lot of, Charlton. I was watching a lot of Rotherham. The teams who I thought were going to be sort of our biggest competition. And I am noticing some very concerning trends with Huddersfield, if I'm going to be honest. Bad decision making, sloppy. If you look at the goal a couple of goals they conceded against Northampton and Blackpool, the one, I don't know, their defender just passed it straight into the goal. Have you seen that goal? It was absolutely hilarious.
Oh yeah.
So the goal, I think it was a miscommunication between the defender and the goalkeeper, but he passed it and he went straight in. Really, really sloppy, really bad decision making. And for me, I think they're missing that fire. That, again, I think I mentioned it in the Peterborough pre-match, but the Huddersfield have got it as well. That desire and that leadership and someone who can just grab the team and grab the game. Kind of what Blues are missing last season.
Do you know what, man? I'm
I think
thinking about it as you're speaking. I'm almost thinking that for Huddersfield, playing us away is almost the perfect game for them because they're on a bad run. Everyone's going to expect that they've literally got nothing to lose, so they might as well just have a go.
Yeah.
Like all teams have, haven't they, when they've come to us? So to play us now, you might think, oh, it's almost like it's a given that you compare the form of the two teams, you think, oh, it's an easy Birmingham City victory. These are a tough team,
They
and
are a good team.
I think that you will see them turn the corner. I think they'll improve, but they have got weaknesses. Avoiding offside again. From my research, that's something that they're weaker. Defending counter attacks as well, but if that is correct from my research, we do a lot of counter attacks, so that's good for us. Defending against skillful players as well, so that's their weaknesses. I mean, but their strength, defending set pieces, so that's going to make it tougher off corners. And that, I think maybe that's born on Michael Hellick, because he's almost like out there Clara.
He is
for us, isn't he?
Yeah,
he's their mountain, isn't he? And he's their talisman, I think, at the back. He's missing, and they're definitely going to miss him. I'm really glad, he's not playing against us because I like him. Attacking down the wings is a strength as well. You can tell that because they have got pace, just like Peterborough had.
Yeah.
I think, if we follow a blueprint like Peterborough and see it as a game like that, which I think we may do, that's going to help us because we've just played a game against a similar team. And obviously, we need to learn from our mistakes. And creating scoring chances, they do create a lot of chances as well. So, there are things in there that we have to be wary of. They are a possession-based football team as well, so they like us. They like the ball.
They can't have possession unless if they ain't got the ball, Dad. We say this a lot, don't we?
Yeah,
because we're a possession-based
well,
team
Peterborough
as well.
were, but when we played them, both of them were classified as possession-based teams, but we had 70% and they had 30%.
Mad, isn't
I
it?
think that's the thing. When we get the ball and start pinging around, we're hard to play against.
Yeah.
But I just think we need to impose ourselves right from minute one, not leave it 15 to 20 and be one or two goals down.
Yeah, but
which we've done on definitely one goal down for quite a few games.
But what you just said is it goes for the Blues team as well, Dad, in my opinion. So you just said it's the perfect time for Huddersfield to play Blues. I think it's the perfect time to play Huddersfield because we started slowly against Wrexham at home. We started slowly against Peterborough at home. Chris Davies said in his post-match interview, we are starting games too slowly. He's fully aware he's going to have them fired up in training over the next few days. Fair enough, there isn't much respite between the Peterborough game and the Huddersfield game, but he's going to have at least, a day and a half on the training pitch with the lads. I think he's going to have some fire in those sessions in these next few days. He's going to have them well fired up for this game because those mistakes have happened. So actually, we got away with it. We got the 3 points against Peterborough. Those mistakes might not be a bad thing because it allows Chris Davies to now put the fire back in the belly of the player. So hopefully we come out firing. Those mistakes are a thing of the past. So let's see. But, I completely agree with you, Dad. And I think maybe we get accused of maybe paying too much respect to teams, but I think Huddersfield are a decent team. And they can score some goals. They beat Bolton 4-0, Peterborough 2-0, Stevenage 2-1. This is a team that can score goals. And I've actually seen a few of their games, as I said, and they've been unlucky in a few. Fair enough, they've had some sloppy mistakes, some bad decisions, like that goal of reference where they passed it straight in. But they haven't been getting, in my opinion, in some games, they haven't been getting trounced. They've just been unlucky in certain games. So they will turn the corner, I think, Huddersfield. They are going to be a difficult team to beat. But if we stick to our game plan, like you said in the Peterborough post-match, Dad, the only people who are going to get in Blues' way this year is Blues.
Yeah.
So if we can cut the mistakes out and play our game, I have no doubt we can win this game. But I think that segues us quite nicely. Unless you've got any final thoughts on Huddersfield to go to the Blues team.
That they have beaten both Peterborough 2-0 away and Bolton 4. They're good away wins. So, it might be a little bit easier for them in terms of the pressure when they're on the road, because some teams feel less pressure playing not in front of their home fans.
Mm-hmm.
That should help. They're currently 9th in the table on 10 points. 12 points. So they've slid down the table after their run. So they're going to want to turn the corner really, and they have to turn the corner quickly. So it's one we need to be mindful of, and we need to be on our game from minute one, as you mentioned. And I think playing Peterborough just a few days ago, who are quite a similar team in terms of their pace and the way they're set up, will help us. But as you said, Chris Davies has got to look at that Peterborough game, particularly the first 20 minutes, and interrogate it. He's got to cut out those mistakes.
And the Wrexham game, if you look at both those games, we started incredibly slowly.
We've got to cut out those mistakes. We've got to stop gifting teams goals, and if we can do that, keep it tight, we got a really good chance of winning this game. So should we come on to Birmingham City then?
Let's do it, Dad. Should we start how we always do and go through the team and think what we think is going to be the starting lineup?
Okay, this is going to be tough because Chris Davis already alluded in his post-match interview after the Peterborough game about rotation, because obviously it's 3 games in a week, isn't it? When you look at Peterborough, Huddersfield, and then Charlton. But we'll have a go.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
Okay, should we start with the goalkeeper?
After the back of the Peterborough game and the mistakes being made, I think he has to now give Allsop a go.
Yeah, I agree. And as I mentioned in the Peterborough post-match interview, the only thing that worries me is if he feels he wants to be loyal to Peacock Farrell and actually almost give Peacock Farrell the message, well, I've still got you back. But
what message does that send to Allsop about competition?
Yeah.
I think you have to be accountable for your mistakes. And if you make 4 in a season of 8 games so far in the start, 7 games for Blues, we've got a game in hand. You have to rotate.
Well, if Allsop doesn't get a chance now, what's the point in having a number 2?
Exactly.
What's he there for?
Who is arguably a better keeper? Yeah.
It's got to be Allsop, and I really hope that Chris Davis picks him.
And me.
I really do. So I think we both agree, and I think I'm guessing the vast majority of Blues fans. Yeah. It's like you mentioned, Matt, in the Peterborough game. After he conceded that goal, all Blues fans were, every time the ball went anywhere near him, the anxiety was all over the stadium.
It projected,
and you could tell it was him as well because he kicked the ball out for a corner, and he needs to be.
He was all over the place.
He needs to have a break for himself as well to build his confidence back up. But it's got to be, for me, it's got to be Allsop.
Same.
Okay. So where do you want to go next? Do you want to go right back?
In my opinion, Gardner Hickman. I think he's been outstanding. As you mentioned, that Huddersfield have a big threat on the left, and I think Gardner Hickman is stronger defensively than Laird. So, I mean, Laird's injured anyway, but I think Gardner Hickman for me.
Yeah, because I think what's going to happen here, I think that it's between Gardner Hickman and Samsted, and I think one of those will start each of those games. So I agree with you. Because of Koroma, I would start with Gardner Hickman in this game and then possibly rest him and play Samsted against Charlton.
I would say, by the way, Samsted did pretty well when he came on against Peterborough. He got some good balls in the box. Yeah. He did some big challenges. He didn't do anything wrong again. But I think, for me, Gardner Hickman's been outstanding at right back. And I'd like to see him because of the threat down the left-hand side.
Yeah, I do think, though, that if he's picked against Huddersfield, I think that we'll probably see Samsted on against Charlton.
You could be right.
I mean, I don't get it myself because I know that, obviously, 3 games in such a short period of time, but these are professional, fit footballers who do all this training. So if there's no need to change them, then you should just keep the same team. But I think on the basis of the intensity of the games and how close they are, I think we'll probably see either Samsted in one of these games. And I agree with you, because of the threat of Huddersfield, I would suggest we have Gardner Hickman in that position. Yeah. Okay, let's go to the left before we go to the centre halves. So left.
I think he had an underwhelming game against Peterborough. He's still a fantastic player, and I don't think there's any competition at the moment through injuries anyway. Cochrane.
It's got to be Cochrane as well. But then if we're talking about rotation, who do you rotate him with?
There is no one, is there? Because Buchanan's injured.
He was playing Keller there in the Carabao Cup.
He's not a good left back, though. No. As in, Keller's a good player.
Yeah.
He looks massively uncomfortable when you put him at left back. I mean, he did score that screamer against Charlton.
I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure when we did the video, I think Ben Davies can play at left back as well.
Oh, okay.
I think so, because he's left-footed.
Interesting.
I think it's Ben Davies. But I think it's going to be Cochrane, and I think maybe that. I know that Buchanan's had a setback as well, so we're not going to see him for a while.
He's had another niggle, hasn't he?
We do need to have some backup for Cochrane. If Chris Davis is saying that players could obviously burn out or get injured if you play too many games, someone's got to support Cochrane as well. But I think we'll see him starting against Huddersfield.
Agreed. Yep.
He's a fit player anyway, isn't he, Cochrane, as well? I thought he was injured, actually, when I went down in the first half, but he seemed to be okay.
That was a nasty challenge, by the way. But
it went through him, didn't he?
You're right, because when Cochrane went down, because of the lack of depth in that one position, I thought, oh no, please get up. So I'm glad he did. Centre-backs and dad for the easy one. Really,
it is easy, Clara and Bielek. But obviously, we have got Ben Davies as well, and I'm wondering whether or not he'll get to, because he was very good against Rotherham.
I think we'll see him at Charlton.
Yeah, okay. All right. But I think Clara and Bielek is, because I think this is a game where Chris Davis will see the threat that they particularly pose. So, Clara and Bielek. So we've got the back line.
I've just got a feeling, again, because they can score goals, Huddersfield. I mean, Charlton can as well, but I still think, for me, it'd be Bielek and Clara.
Okay, let's go. Where do you want to go next?
Centre mid.
Centre mid. Again, see, we've got Paik and Nawata, which I think they're nailed on, but I think we're going to see Leonard in these couple of games as well.
Completely agree. I think Leonard I think it'll be Leonard and Paik against Huddersfield.
I've put that as well. That's exactly what I've put as well. Yeah,
I really do. do. And by the way, again, we haven't discussed this, have we, Dad?
No. I think he'll rest Awata. Awata will be on the bench, so he might come on against Huddersfield. But I think Leonard deserves a start anyway.
Fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah, it's difficult though when you've got Awata and Paik there. I mean, you know,
I think me and you in particular out of the fan base have a soft spot for Leonard, don't we, Dad? We're a big fan of Mark Leonard.
I think he's quality.
He is a fantastic player. And me and you laugh every time we do subs, don't we, Dad? The fact we bring on Keshi Anderson, Mark Leonard, Alfie May, Scott Wright.
Yeah.
It's oh my word.
So I think we both agree there that the central midfield it could be and is likely to be Paik and Leonard.
Yeah.
And probably rest Awata. We'll put him on the bench. Okay. Yeah. Let's do left side.
I think it'll be Hansen.
Yeah.
I think because he subbed him off against Peterborough, he's going to have a half fresh legs because he didn't play the second half. He did nothing wrong in the first half. In fact, I thought he actually had one of his best halves.
That's a really good point, actually. He only played a half, didn't he, against Peterborough, so he was fit enough. So I think he will start. Yeah, good point.
Yeah,
I mean, Anderson could play there.
He could
play there. And I've noticed that Yokoyama hasn't been on the bench for the last couple of games either.
Yeah.
So and I think that's not because Chris Davis thinks he's a bad player, but you can only name 7 subs.
Yeah, exactly.
So he probably prioritises other areas. So I think we both agree it'd be Hansen.
We could see Yokoyama on the bench and someone else who's normally taking a bench spot not getting the game in the interest of rotation, though. So let's see what Chris Davies does. But I think we could see Hansen on the left with Yokoyama on the bench this week against Huddersfield.
Okay. So then we go on to the right.
So we had Williamson on the right at the start of the Huddersfield game, and then in the second half, he switched it round, didn't he, when Keshi Anderson and Scott Wright came on. For his intensity and the way he played against Peterborough when he came on, I wouldn't mind seeing Scott Wright have a start.
So I'm smiling because I've got to put Scott Wright in. Yeah, because he was excellent when he came on against Peterborough, wasn't he?
Dynamic.
Yeah, and he gave us a real intensity, you know. He gave us a different...
His directness.
His energy, you know, there's a lot more energy with him. I mean, Williamson's done nothing wrong, but obviously if he wants to rotate and rest players, this could be the game for Williamson to rest him. Or if not, I think it would be the other way round against Charlton.
Yeah.
This is why it's difficult. We're going so close.
He could play keep Alfie May on the bench and put Williamson in the 10. Obviously, we're going to come on to the 10 now in our next position. So the 10 for me, it's a very close toss-up between Williamson and Alfie May, in my opinion.
Yeah, okay. Well, let's talk about that then. So do you agree that it could be Scott Wright as the
I agree.
start?
Yeah. So that's what I suggested.
Okay, so let's talk about the number 10 then. So you think...
So for me, it's either going to be Williamson or Alfie May. If he's talking about form and consistency and someone who's been killing it in the last couple of games, it has to be Williamson. But because he's adding value to the squad now and he is a really important player for us, he might think logically to rest him against Huddersfield to play in the Charlton game. I don't know where Chris Davis heads at. This is why I don't get paid to be a manager, because I can't make these decisions. It could be Williamson or Alfie May. I would argue I wouldn't mind seeing Alfie May in the number 10 again and giving Williamson a bit of a rest. Because
I think so.
Alfie May just gives us that energy, don't he, to break up play, up through the lines. And...
Williston's been excellent.
Yeah, outstanding.
You know, he's obviously got the goal as well his goal against Peterborough. That's his second of the season, and he's really sort of coming to his own. Really, I think he made that right hand position his sort of his own. But we've got this flexibility of being able to put him in that number 10. But if it's a lot of games and rotation, and obviously Alfie May hasn't started the last few games, he's going to be fresh, isn't he? And raring to go. My gut feeling is it'll be May.
Yeah,
I think it'll be May, and we'll rest Williamson, start Scott Wright in that number 10, but Williamson definitely on the bench. And then we've got and he'll be out at some stage.
You mean Alfie May in the 10?
Alfie May in the 10, Williamson on the bench.
Okay,
yes.
You said Scott Wright in the end of the 10 then?
No, so it's got Scott Wright on the right.
Yes.
Alfie May in the number 10, and Williamson on the bench.
Yes,
and
agreed.
that gives us the option for Williamson to come on either as number 10 or on the right.
Yeah.
And obviously,
is there not, again, we're going to come on to this, Dad, sorry, I do keep jumping the gun, I apologise. But I'm thinking in my head about the rest and the quality of the players. Stansfield could arguably need a rest at some point as well. So he might put Alfie May back up top, give Stansfield a rest, and then Alfie May gets his slot back up top, only for rotation purposes and fitness. But I don't think he's going to do that. I think he's going to play Stansfield
I think that could happen against Charlton. He'll put Alfie May up front just to another Charlton fans.
Yeah.
But I think in this game, I think Stansfield is such an energetic player that I don't think a break would hurt him. He came off after about 70 minutes, didn't he, against Peterborough?
He runs so much, he has to come off. He runs that line so aggressively. And fair play, he got a shout out from Chris Davis in the post-match interview crediting Stansfield for the amount of hard work he puts in, because fair enough, he's a goal scorer, he's a threat, he scores a lot of goals, but I think the biggest part of his game and the biggest value he adds is the energy he brings. Yeah,
but he is going to need a break at some point. So, but I still think in the Huddersfield game we'll probably start him with Alfie May at number 10.
Yeah.
Maybe in the Charlton game. But then again, you look at, I suppose Chris Davis might think, well, he's a fit player, and if he's got the energy, then just leave him on.
He's young enough.
I think what we've seen, Matt, and what we've just discussed really is the dilemma that Chris Davis has got with the
depth.
squad that we've got.
It's mad, isn't it?
It's a great problem to have, but obviously he's trying to keep everybody happy as well. We haven't even mentioned Lyndon Dykes.
Yeah, and he started against Peterborough.
Or dare I say, Yuki.
Yeah, poor Yuki, yeah.
Well, it's not poor Yuki, is it really? I mean, he's earning enough money.
Yeah, it's not poor Yuki for that reason. It's just we all love Yuki, but
Yeah, so that's what we think. I'm sorry, is there anything else you want to?
No, I mean, should we do a quick score prediction? What are your thoughts for the game?
I haven't even thought about this yet. Actually, I think that again, I'm always conscious of us making mistakes, and we've kept one clean sheet so far in the league against Rotherham, and I think we'll concede again. But I'm going to go for Birmingham 2, Huddersfield 1.
I've literally gone Birmingham City 2, Huddersfield 1.
Have you?
Yeah,
Okay.
and again, we have not discussed it. 2-1, I think it might be a bit more comfortable than what the scoreline suggests, especially when we find our rhythm in terms of possession.
Yeah.
But Huddersfield are no pushovers. They're going to be a good team. And again, I just can't see that clean sheet happening consistently just yet. And I think Birmingham City 2, Huddersfield 1.
So that's what we think. So we'd love to know what you think. So if you are a Birmingham City supporter or even maybe a Huddersfield Town supporter who's came across our channel for the first time and you've got something you want to say or maybe react to, then please add a comment below this video. We're always happy to hear the views of fans from our own club and other clubs. If you did like this podcast, then don't forget to give us a thumbs up. And if you haven't checked us out on our social media channels already, then pop along to our X page and our Instagram page. And also now we're on Spotify. So if you like listening to or watching your podcast on Spotify, you can also do that now. And you'll see the handles appearing on the screen for all those right now. And of course, if you haven't hit that subscribe button, make sure you press the subscribe button so you don't miss any future content all about Birmingham City. And myself and Matt will see you on the next video.